A trauma bond is made up of multiple things, and it produces a addictive cocktail that just brings you back to the narcissist over and over and over again. If you're new here, my name is Ben Taylor. I'm a self-aware narcissist on this channel to provide awareness, growth, and transformation for people trying to heal from narcissistic abuse. Unsure of what to do, unsure of how to heal, unsure of next steps. That's what we're here for. If I can help you with that, go to rawmotivations.com. One of the things that happens in a toxic relationship is cognitive dissonance. And cognitive dissonance doesn't just happen on a small scale. It is a ginormous scale, 24/7, all the time. This is happening. Now, cognitive dissonance is break it down in a couple different ways. When you think about cognitive dissonance, it's at the base level, this idea of holding two opposing thoughts at the same time. So you go to this grocery store and you get ready to buy something and you think, which one do I want? This would be healthier for me, but this is what I really want. In that moment, there's a slight pause of like, okay, I'll go with this one. Whichever it might be, you take a moment to be able to decide which one actually matters and which one has the right value. And then you tell yourself a certain story. Well, this one's not healthy, but it's okay because I really want it. This one's healthy and I really want that because of how I want it to impact my life. Whatever it might be, you tell yourself a story to be able to figure out which one you actually want. It's the same thing inside the relationship. However, in the relationship, the stakes are higher than it just being a healthy food product or not. When the stakes are higher, it ends up being, wait a second, the guy that's in my life, does he love me or does he not? Do I believe his words or do I believe his actions? As two opposing thoughts. Oftentimes these two opposing thoughts in the relationship will look very similar. He says he loves me, but he keeps cheating on me. He says he loves me, but he doesn't show it. He says he loves me, but, and the list goes on and on. What happens here is it produces a level of cognitive dissonance. That moment where you're like, I don't know which one it actually is. And you typically won't inside of a narcissistic relationship because he wants to keep changing it up on you. If he can keep you confused, you don't actually move. If you don't move, you die. You wither away. The version of you has their identity stripped away piece by piece by piece so that you don't actually make a move and grow and develop you. This happens all the time. Inside the relationship that you're in, you will continue to see this happen over and over and over again. The cognitive dissonance gets overwhelming. Now, everybody in life has cognitive dissonance. So just understand this isn't a bad thing because a lot of people have this decision-making process. What do I think? What do I believe? Which way do I go? That's okay. The thing that we need to work on, the thing that we need to make sure it doesn't happen is that this cognitive dissonance isn't in your life 24/7. Because when you're in this relationship, it happens all the time. It produces a state where basically it brings you into a limbo land. And this limbo land is looking at which side, what is actually going on. This limbo land makes you waffle back and forth. Have you ever waffled back and forth on the decision of whether you should stay in the relationship or leave the relationship? Type in me into the chat. If that's you, comment right now below the video. Just type in me. Just say, yeah, I've struggled with that. Because I need you to understand that other people have struggled with this too. It's not just you, but other people. We talked about this on video the other day about isolation. If you don't realize that more people struggle with this, you'll think that you're alone with it. You're not. Because if you think you're alone, you'll produce this shame. You'll start to think, but you're not alone. The cognitive dissonance piece puts you in a state of limbo where you have to create a story that lets you stay in that state. This is the problem of narcissistic abuse, is it doesn't bring you to a resolution. It doesn't bring you to a place where you actually make a decision or you actually move. It leaves you in limbo land. He loves me, but he keeps cheating on me. Well, maybe he's a sex addict. Maybe there's something here that he's struggling because of things in his childhood. Maybe he's emotionally immature. Maybe, and the list goes on because you end up making up stories to let yourself stay in limbo land. My job of what I do is to move you out of limbo land. Imagine that you had the clarity that you're actually looking for, the clarity that no matter what he said to you, and no matter what he did, and no matter what came across, you were able to cut through all of it. Almost like you have this fog in your life and you're able to just cut right through the fog and say, I can actually see clearly. Because most people in a toxic relationship are dealing with fog. They're struggling with, first off, fear. of what do I do? I don't know. Am I making the right decision? Can I leave? Can I stay? And you're struggling with obligation. And the obligation of, well, I've been in this relationship for such a long period of time, I might as well stay. Well, we had wedding vows, so that means I have to stay. Well, my religion doesn't let me get divorced, so I have to stay. And then you also have guilt, where you're guilty for staying so long, so you might as well stay. Where you're guilty of how it's affected you, how it's affected the kids. All different levels of guilt that happen, guilt and shame that impact you, but that leaves you in this fog. And the fog doesn't help with the cognitive dissonance because it just blurs the lines of what's actually real, what's actually true, what do you actually need to do. And so the only way to cut through the fog is truth. And when we cut through the fog with truth, it's hard because you can't just do simple, basic truth because everyone's truth is going to be different. He has his own truth. You have your own truth. I have my own truth. We have to focus inside of the narcissistic relationship by dealing with the facts. The facts are the thing that's going to set you free from the relationship, set you free from the triggers, set you free from the trauma bond, set you free from the fog that right now has you confused, lost, and afraid. But we have to deal with the facts of the situation. So when I say imagine a moment of where you actually have full clarity, where you no longer have this fog, but you're able to cut through it with the facts. You're able to actually stand up into your power, understanding who you are, not having this waffling back and forth, not having this moment of I'm stuck in limbo land and I don't know what to do. But imagine you had a way to be able to process it every single day. The feelings, the emotions, the triggers, the trauma bond, all those things can be processed. All these things you can work through to help you move forward, to help you actually transform your mindset. That's what I focus on because of my journey, and everything that's transformed in my life over the past 4 to 5 years has been mindset work, changing how I think, changing how I show up, and it works the same for you. Not just works the same for you because I think it, but because I know it, because hundreds and hundreds of people have used the same process that I've used to transform how they show up. To be able to cut through the fog of cognitive dissonance and be able to see, wait a second, when I look at this, I need to actually look at the facts. Because the facts are going to reveal the foundational frame of what's actually going on inside the relationship, what's actually happening. It's going to give you just a baseline of, wait a second, if I look at this, here are the facts. Then from there, we have to figure out what is the story that you're actually telling yourself. Because if we don't identify the story, you'll start to believe the story is facts. Let me say that again. If we don't identify the story, you'll start to believe that the story is fact. But that's not how it works. But oftentimes, feelings will lead your facts. Your stories will lead your facts. Your focus will lead your facts. Your lies will lead your facts. Everything will lead facts. Instead, we have to focus on, we need to look at the facts first. Which simply put means, if he's saying that he loves you, but he continuously keeps cheating on you, that doesn't show love. When he says he's going to do one thing, but he never follows through, that doesn't show consistency. When he says he's going to get healing, but he doesn't sign up for therapy, or he doesn't start working on himself, the facts show different than the story that he's telling you. But we have to be able to view this and look at this, because if we don't actually deal with the facts, it will leave you confused, lost, and struggling. And so the facts are what we have to focus on to be able to start breaking free of the cognitive dissonance. This is a tool that I use every single day called stacking, because stacking is a mental rewiring process, helping me take stuff that I think is true, but it's actually false, switching it back to its reality, switching it back to what is actually true by basing it on the facts. The facts are what's going to keep you grounded. You're going to think, well, he's better off with a new supply. Like, he's showcasing the world that she's the most amazing thing. But the fact of the matter is, he hasn't worked on himself. He hasn't changed anything. He hasn't developed anything. He just has a new mask on. But if we don't deal with the facts, your feelings are going to run the ship and be like, oh my gosh, that's the guy that I wanted. No, that's just another mask. It's just another version of him for another person. Cognitive dissonance leaves you in this limbo, going back and forth, leaves you stuck, making you think, I don't know what to believe. I don't know what to do. I want to give you a tool to help you cut through that, to actually get you to a place where you could figure this out faster and faster. You can develop a connection and communion with you, with God, to be able to say, what is actually true in this moment? What are the facts actually telling me versus my stories, my ideas, my thoughts that are misleading me? He's going to automatically try to do anything and everything to mislead you. You need to do anything and everything to make sure that you get firmly grounded. The process that I use is called stacking. The communities, the tribes, all the people that I run with help do this on a day-to-day basis because it changes their mindset and their thought process to find the clarity of what's going on inside the toxic relationship, to break the trauma bonds, to eradicate the trigger, to then have us start building your healthy boundaries and the direction you want to go. If we don't do this, you stay stuck. If you stay stuck, you don't move. If you don't move, you die. You become a shell of the person you used to be simply because we've stayed waffling back and forth without dealing with the facts first. If you want help with that, would love to have you reach out. You can go to rawmotivations.com today. There's a video on the homepage. Take a look at that. Apply for a breakthrough call and let's talk. Because the goal is to help you move from where you currently are to where you want to be. We have to do that one step at a time. If you're ready for that next step, then go ahead and go to rawmotivations.com today. Y'all have a blessed, wonderful day, and we'll see y'all next time.